Oh, son of a gun. Here we go, everybody. Welcome. I welcomed everybody into the chat. How about that? Yeah, for some reason, my mic was turned down. I have no idea how the hell that happened, but you know what I usually say, folks. Let's go ahead and jump into the back. My goodness, my goodness. Oh, sorry, everybody. It's one of those days. Yeah. Happy Memorial Day. Hopefully, majority of you have had the day off and had an opportunity to go ahead and think about those who were in the military that have passed in the past, like my dear father, Glenn. He was in the Korean War for a couple tours back in the day, and someone, although he's passed, he's still with me every day of my life, and I think about him on a regular basis. So it's always good to think about those we love and care about. On that note, let's go ahead and get into what we're talking about today. What's that? Yes, UFO hiding in the clouds. Yeah, we were going through some videos last night with Tim Seener, and there's a cool video where I don't think anybody in any of their analysis picked up a UFO video that's a UFO that's in the clouds. I will be covering that shortly, but before we get there, let's go ahead and jump into the first top story of the day we've got coming today from Representative Anna Paulina Luna saying we need to see more from the UFO files. That's a good thing because we don't have an agenda of where this stuff is going to go next. Just so everybody knows, Mike has got a plumbing problem, backed up pipes, so he should be around maybe eventually. On that note, let's get into this story and watch it, and then we'll talk about it. Here we go, folks. Let's get to it.
Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna has been all over this, and she joins us now. Congresswoman, your colleague, the great representative from my state of Tennessee, Tim Burchett, he referred to this as a deep state classic. He seemed to insinuate that, yes, these videos are great, but they're not the real thing. They're not what you all have seen. What is your take on what we've seen so far, and is there more that we need to see?
I think that there's more that we need to see, but also, too, I think one of the most important things that Congress can do right now is stop working against what the American people want, what the administration wants in transparency, and to pass the UAP Disclosure Act, in addition to put out either temporary immunity or at least waiving people's ability to come forward and bring forward information if they do indeed have more regarding if this has been captured technology. Look, if you were to say this without this evidence being out there, people might think that you're crazy. But as you are seeing a lot of the work that we have done behind the scenes to declassify this, as well as President Trump's direction to order the release of these files, could not happen at any other time in U.S. history, Tommy. I just want to put out there that we had been trying so long and hard to release some of this information under the Biden administration, and it was not until President Trump put out the statement saying that he was going to declassify this that we saw an internal effort, not just from the CIA, but also from the FBI, Department of War, and yes, even OVNI to actually track down some of this information. And so there, I think, is more information coming, but we are really focused on getting whistleblower protections so that we can see if there is any there to some of these now wild statements that some people have made in regards to, crashed and retrieved technology.
Some of the things that you have seen, I know that there aren't enough whistleblower protections, and I know a lot of this is still classified, so you're limited. But from the footage that you've seen, maybe more than the American people at this point, is there enough to suggest here that we've got non-human entities that we're dealing with?
What's interesting is all of the witnesses that we have talked to call these things interdimensional. So I won't speculate as to that other than, reaffirm what they have said. But Tommy, I will speak to something that has been released. So there was that illustration that was shown. If you look through the files, a lot of headlines have been posting it. It looks like a metallic sphere. And I will say that that was actually from a briefing that we got with the FBI. It was up until recently, up until it was declassified, an ongoing investigation because it was observed by contractors. And what I will say is that this is not something that's just made up. There were investigators looking into this extensively. But what was alarming to me specifically is the amount of effort that and resistance that existed within the intelligence community to either prevent us from getting this information out to the American people or to try to discredit witnesses that had come forward with information, not to mention the release of their medical records to try to discredit them in the event of what happened with David Grush. And so I think that you'll concur and agree with me that whenever you have the federal government telling you you can't look at something, what to think, and that if you ask questions, you're crazy, I think that that tells you about the angle and perspective that currently existed up until recently. And so, yes, this has been an interesting investigation. We've been on this for a while. Burchett's been really leading the charge on this since the beginning. But remember, there's still a lot that we face from within our own intelligence communities.
Wow. Well, Congresswoman, you've given us a lot to chew on here. I do believe we are in the age of disclosure, and I know that you and Congressman Burchett are working so hard to get the American people the answers. We always appreciate it. Thank you for your fearlessness in that endeavor.
All right. Now you've heard it without interruption. Now let's go through and give our reaction and talk about this thing. So, all right, here, folks, let's restart this clip about here where she gets going, and now expect us to pause and go through this thing. Here we go.
Insinuate that, yes, these videos are great, but they're not the real thing. They're not what you all have seen. What is your take on what we've seen so far, and is there more that we need to see?
I think that there's more that we need to see, but also, too, I think one of the most important things that Congress can do right now is stop working against what the American people want, what the administration wants in transparency, and to pass the UAP Disclosure Act.
Oh, my God. They're doing it again. They're bringing up, they're beating that dead horse one more time. They want, I guess they want to push forward this UAP Disclosure Act to go ahead and have this big overreaching law that's failed 3 years in a row and set back UFO legislation 3 years in a row. Anyone in the back have any comments on this? Because for me, it just seems like don't stick with the same law, break it up into small chunks, and let's see where this could possibly go, because 3 years in a row it's failed. Michael Sutcliffe or Corporal Abe, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. But they've all talked about the really great videos that they've seen recently, the stuff that could set, the United States on fire and just freak everybody out. I think that's the kind of stuff we really need. What we basically got was a great collection of little dots, and, we've been calling them disclosure dots at this point because that seems to be the level of information they're willing to disclose to us. I mean, they fully redacted all of the information from all the telematics going on these particular craft, and there's no reason why they have to take all the telematics coming off of a MQ-9 Reaper drone and black it all out. That all information is out there of what all the different sensors, what all can be picked up, what can show in those sensors. That's all public information. So they're hiding sources and methods. However, it's just saying where it is, some airspeed, nautical information, and all that kind of stuff that would help the public understand what they're trying to sell us on. Jay, go ahead.
Congresswoman are saying and everything and congressmen, because it's like, you have these boats in the water with drugs in them, and you have videos coming out from them in HD quality, like right after it happens and everything. But then a UFO one, you de-res it because why? There's no reason. There's no reason whatsoever to de-res it unless you're trying to hide what it looks like from the outside. And, everybody knows that we have better quality video. We need to push for them to stop de-resing the video.
De-resing it, and I would even say, let us know where in the world this is. I mean, unless it's in a place like it's over one of our enemy's territory, but if it's in the Arabian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, the Arabian Sea, all these different areas that could potentially be in the Strait of Hormuz, there's no reason to hide. They can
give away locations and stuff like that without giving away sources and methods. It's very simple.
But we already know what's coming.
It's not.
Is it a secret to the recording
what
these?
The sensor platform is, or the system they're using, or anything. It's just saying it's this location. Here is the video, and here is the speed. Hopefully, they give us a damn speed, because that would help too.
It's not like this information is coming from a totally top secret classified platform, right? It's from known systems we have out there. Heck, we've seen, like you mentioned before, high HD full color footage of Russian jet fighters coming in and doing fuel dumps on MQ-9 Reapers in the past.
Yeah.
And it was released the same
Exactly.
day. That was in the Black Sea.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying, that we need more of these HD videos that all these congressmen are seeing. We're getting the D-res version of what they're seeing.
Now, to be fair, some of these videos are indeed HD, meaning they're recorded at 1920 by 1080, right? At 60 frames a second. The problem is the optics of what's being shown to us is zoomed way the hell out there. So all you're getting are, in some cases, about this size on the screen, and we call them disclosure dots because it's little things. Now they're zipping around. They're doing things that normal human craft can't do, our adversaries' craft can't do, but it's amazing, but it's still a little bit too small.
Yeah. I agree, Thomas.
Yeah. All right. And by the way, I should mention, Jay Albertson, you've been involved with MUFON for a while, at least you were.
What's that?
You were involved with MUFON for a while as well. I just want to let our audience know in case they're not familiar with your name.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Thank you, Thomas.
Absolutely. All right. Here we go. Let's play some more.
In addition to put out either temporary immunity or at least waiving people's ability to come forward and bring forward information if they do indeed have more regarding if this has been captured technology. Look, if you were to...
Really quick before she moves off of this one, there is a single page bill that was introduced by Representative Tim Burchett for whistleblower protections. Very simple, very easy. Puts the protections in, unseals people so they can go ahead and talk about some of this stuff. So if they want to get whistleblower protections, you have to start somewhere. And I think what Tim has put together, she said Tim has been leading the charge. Yeah, he has. And it's just a matter of sometimes the people who go along with Tim need to fall in line and take some of the stuff he wants to get out there and help it to make it happen. Because a lot of the stuff, nothing can get done with an army of one. It's just part of the situation, unfortunately. Let's continue
to
on.
say this without this evidence being out there, people might think that you're crazy. But as you are seeing a lot of the work that we have done behind the scenes to declassify this, as well as President Trump.
People may think you're crazy. Now, Jay and other people out there, is the information good enough of what we've been seeing to make people think that we're not crazy? While we'd love to have a survey coming from Daryl, Ferrari and his Ferrari with Daryl.
Thank you, Thomas.
Did you get your ticket?
I got a warning.
You got a warning. Good. Congratulations. We're worried about you, my friend. Yeah. In case you didn't realize Daryl had a Ferrari. Yes, he is in his Ferrari with his pet dog, Ferrari. It's awesome. It's fine. There you go. Put you full screen.
And we're about to pull into the house, so we're good.
All right, we'll see you. We'll see you shortly, my friend. Thanks for stopping in. All right, let's get back to where we were just at. No, I wasn't there. I was over here. Now, where in the hell was I? Well, that's my ADD kicking in. Something shiny. Let's get to this, folks, and let's talk about it some more. Here we go. Oh, yeah, Tim Burchett. I remembered. Adderall worked, thank God. A little late, but yes, Tim Burchett wants to get that out there with regard to whistleblower protections. We need it. More importantly, we need that to come from the President of the United States. If they want to get any of this stuff and have it pass, there's too much money polluting Congress right now. It might get through. There's a good chance enough money will be spent and it won't get through. We can't wait for that point. Push it for the president. We were supposed to get an executive order. We were supposed to get, which never happened. We were supposed to get an executive memo. We got the executive tweet. Then we were supposed to get an executive memo followed by with some really stern, if you want to call it, consequences if people don't do what they're supposed to do. George Metcalf, your hand is up.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Good evening, everyone. Based in the UK, not across the pond where you guys are, but I was just going to say the first sliver or section or tranche that was released. I was hoping the second section, the second tranche, was going to be more informative, a little pushing the boundaries a little bit. It just sounds like, looking at the situation, everyone's very frustrated, very upset about the slow drip release. Daryl, I'm happy you got a warning and didn't get a ticket, and awesome hound.
Ross Colhart wants us to admit we have been shooting these things down. We've been, if you want to call it, doing crash retrievals, and we've been reverse engineering these things for weapons of war. The federal government is never going to give us that. So don't set the expectation so high. I mean, if you look at what we got from our first release, and then we've got the second release, I would say this one was twice as good as the last. And there's been an amplification of quality and the number of videos and documents we're getting that we didn't see in that initial release.
I think within the community, everyone's searching for that smoking gun. They're looking for the undeniable, absolute proof. And in this situation, like you say, the second release, pound for pound, is a little bit stronger. Do you feel, Thomas, that the third release is going to be stronger still and it's going to have momentum?
All right. Let me start to pull on the first one. The second release, the second UFO files release. A step forward, a step backward.
At this juncture, from my perspective, personally speaking, and I'm not, I'm only an armchair investigator, only an armchair viewer. I feel that it's a little bit muted. People within the community are baying for the full height. As Jay Albertson said.
But if you talk about the UFO community, you've got a bunch of spoiled brats out there who want everything and they want it yesterday and they want it now. And if they don't, they're going to go ahead and call everyone trolls and horrible names and grifters and everything, because
there's different levels to the community, right? Like the level that you are, where you're self-claiming that you're an armchair investigator. That's a much higher level than the general public that has no clue or no idea what the hell's going on. You sit at an elite level, so you shouldn't just bash yourself, and others shouldn't bash themselves and say, I'm just an armchair investigator. No, you're actually an open source investigator that's done their due diligence.
Right. If we go ahead and take a look at this, I did put a survey up there for the audience. People are saying, where's the poll music? Let me put it on. Hopefully I don't forget to turn it off. But if I do, you guys will remind me. Oh, wow, that's really freaking loud. Sorry, back.
Can I ask Corporal Abe? And Thomas, do you think this is a sequential release of a controlled disclosure?
Yeah, well, of course it's controlled. They're not going through everything right now and just saying, here's everything, take it, figure it out for yourself. It is... They're controlling how much we're getting, right? They're controlling what they're saying about the files, what we're getting, but we're getting an additive, like we're going up a slowly steep staircase at this point. We're not going straight up, but we're slowly moving forward. And I think that's what you need to keep everybody in general from a civil, a scientific,
catastrophic disclosure,
a military, and more importantly, a religious aspect. Abe?
I think you're right, Tom, and I just think that you hit the nail on the head, and they're doing everything you said, but the goal for that is to prevent catastrophic disclosure. And that's why things kind of seem unprofessional and unplanned sometimes, is because at the same time they are trying to prevent. That's why we're not getting everything we want. And that's why there's the levels of communities are not getting everything they're not satisfied.
And after we get past this, we'll be talking about it more tonight. There is an unbelievable pushback still coming from the CIA, who she's going to mention shortly. We'll talk about it then. So we've got a survey going. Okay, Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. Sorry. I usually do it for about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and we've gone for a couple minutes. Let me just go ahead and just give the official countdown. 23 seconds, folks. We've got 93 votes in so far out of our audience. 68% are saying that the second UFO files release for the public is a step forward. 70% of the audience, 25% saying no movement, 5% thinking it's a step backwards. So on that note, that's the okay, Google, stop. There we go. Let's take a screenshot for posterity's sake. All right, we got it. And let me just go ahead and stop that for right now. And I think I need to go ahead and click the button on this and tell it to end the poll. There we go. Let's bring up the final results on the screen. Here we go. So final results from our audience with 112 votes in. Everyone thinks it's a step forward, and I think it is. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you were saying, Abe, that this is more about the general public getting brought into it than anything.
I mean, bro, I don't speak for you or anybody else in here that comes into our community, but I mean, like, I thought that's why we're all here, is trying to educate the general public, trying to help everybody out. We're not really here for the money or the attention. We could all do something else.
Oh, where you can make some actual money? Yeah.
Yeah, we don't make any money doing it. I don't make shit doing this.
Yeah, I make a small amount to go ahead and throw in equipment and services and software and everything I use to keep the thing up and going. But if you compare it to what I would do at my normal job, no, this is like, I'm not going to say a waste of time, but I did financially. But I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for the big piece. We're in it for everybody to bring the truth out.
Yeah, we all need to be on the same level, get the truth out, get done with all these human wars, and get to moving forward as a society together. And I think that's what we're all, and I'm very happy today, Memorial Day 2026, that, you know, like 250th anniversary of the country coming up, we're all moving forward, and I feel like the right direction, but we just need to keep going. And I think Anna Paulina Luna is correct when she's saying, let's take the lid off and just be fully transparent and stop just giving out these TV series of UFO episodes.
And the biggest problem I have with Carl Nell's UAPDA, yes, Carl Nell was the author of it. We have it from multiple really good sources high up the chain that he was the main author behind that document. Yes, we love it and everything. However, there's some poison pills in there that some companies don't want to make, and I want it to get there, but, you know, we'll get there. So on that note, let's continue on with Anna and get to it. Here we go, folks.
Trump's direction to order the release of these files could not happen at any other time in U.S. history. Tommy, I just want to put out there that we had been trying so long and hard to release some of this information under the Biden administration, and it was not until President Trump put out the statement saying that he was going to declassify this that we saw an internal effort, not just from the CIA, but also...
Wait a minute. Abe, it wasn't Trump who started this, was it? It was Obama.
I mean...
It was Obama.
It definitely wasn't Biden. Biden wasn't involved whatsoever. You know, like he didn't want to be a part of it. Obama did.
It started with him saying aliens are real. And then Trump coming out and saying, well, he mentioned he mentioned some things that are, national security, and we're going to have to go ahead and, declassify this stuff to keep Barack from getting in trouble. And it all kind of spiraled to where we're at today. Perfect storm, thanks to Peter Doocy.
I think we can go and say it's bipartisan today. Like we can just say it's a bipartisan thing. If who's responsible, Obama and Trump.
Yeah,
they both deserve credit. That's the book that in history, that's where I think the chips are going to fall.
Obama poked Trump, and Trump did what he could.
I agree. Obama, you're right. This was a chess game, and that's what happened. That's exactly what happened.
It's a handoff. Exactly. It's a relay race.
That's what. You're right. You're right. Or it's a relay race. I like that a little bit better. Just
they're not adversarial.
Or the can got kicked. Yeah,
they're working as a team.
It's bipartisan. This is the first bipartisan thing we've seen that's clearly worked. That government is showing us. Look what we can do. Everything else is bullshit, but this is the one thing that they can accomplish.
Exactly. Let's move on with this. Here we go.
Also from the FBI.
Really quick. Wait, she mentioned CIA here.
Classify this, that we saw an internal effort, not just from the CIA, but also from the FBI.
Now, from what we've heard, Luna talked with John Ratcliffe, the head of the CIA, early, before she started asking for those files. He told her some places to go ahead and look. But behind the scenes, we've learned that, and I'm surprised Luna isn't talking about it, but there's probably political reasons for it. There was pushback to cover up actions going in the CIA that were coming through the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's about to go ahead and who's resigning because her husband has a really rare bone cancer at this point in time. Poor guy, but it's just, we need to get politicians to stop making excuses for those 3-letter agencies that are keeping the information out. Because if we are talking about shoot down, crash, and retrieval operations, that's all organized by who? Yes, the CIA. So along with the Air Force and other 3-letter agencies as well. So, and private contractors. So it all kind of adds up. We just can't give them a pass because someone told you one thing and you like the guy who runs the place. You have to get past your personal alliances and allegiances you have and focus on what is it going to take for us to get the truth we need from the CIA today. Let me continue now.
But isn't that what the immunity thing is going to do? Isn't that going to allow the CIA to basically just do whatever the I kind of feel like we're dealing with a double-edged sword here, right? If we give the immunity to the whistleblowers, then we can't really criticize what the CIA does.
Yeah, we can. You can't give them
I want to point fingers. I do want to point fingers, but are we going to move forward pointing fingers? And that's what I'm saying. Is if we point the fingers, we're not going to get anywhere.
If the agency is covering things up and they're not playing ball and they're not giving the information that Trump is ordering, Trump should do what Trump can do. And if he needs to start firing people, if he needs to fire the bureaucrats who are in those positions and not doing what they should be doing, well, then, let there be a cost for their inability or their unwillingness to actually go ahead and share the information that's being requested at that time. I think, CIA right now, if they're lying and they're not giving the information across, do they deserve any immunity? Hell no. They're obstructing the president, the head of the executive branch, who is their boss. And if they're obstructing their boss, 2 words, you're fired. And by the way, this little video you're going to see here, we figured this one out. You're going to see these little boats going along here. As they're going along, those 2 little dark things we're seeing going along, those are actually UAP under the water going faster than the boats are. Let me just...
And yes, even OVNI to actually track down some of this information. And so there's
those little disclosure dots right there.
Department of War. And yes, even OVNI to actually track down some of this information. And so there, I think, is more information coming. But we are really focused on getting whistleblower protections so that we can see if there is any there to some of these now wild.
Okay. They're focusing on whistleblower protections. Great. What legislation have you come up with? What kind of deals are you making to help get us there? Otherwise, they're just throwing out terms to say we're working on this. If they're working on it, don't we really deserve to know what they've actually done? Or is it just saying we're working on it, meaning we're going to be working on it versus we're actually making traction on this? Really quick, I want to go ahead and thank a couple people to get up some super chats to start off tonight. Who am I talking about? Let's get to it really quick. The first one that came in right before the show started coming from Moose Kelly 19. Thank you very much. You're a new subscriber. Appreciate it. Moon at Noon, throw out a buck. Appreciate it very much, my friends. We're a fan-funded program. We don't do a lot of cheesy merch, and although a lot of people are asking for it, which I could potentially do, but, let's have some fun. Here we go. Let's continue some more.
Statements that some people have made in regards to, crash and retrieve technology.
Some of the things that you have seen, I know that there aren't enough whistleblower protections, and I know a lot of this is still classified, so you're limited. But from the footage that you've seen, maybe more than the American people at this point, is there enough to suggest here that we've got non-human entities that we're dealing with?
What's interesting is all of the witnesses that we have talked to call these things interdimensional. So I won't speculate as to that other than, reaffirm what they have said. But Tommy, I will speak to something that has been released. So there was that illustration that was shown. If you look through the files, a lot of things they call these things interdimensional. So I won't speculate as to that other than, reaffirm what they have said.
But who's saying this? Right, hold on.
Is there enough to suggest here that we've got non-human entities that we're dealing with?
What's interesting is all of the witnesses that we have talked to call these things interdimensional.
But that's saying their origin. That isn't saying what they are. I guess it kind of ties into it, but she's hearing from it. Non-human entities. Let's just call them aliens. We brought back UFOs.
Yeah,
let's make aliens great again.
Because I've heard Anna Paulina say they're from a different dimension. They're a different species. We got just call them fucking aliens at this point. Aliens, multiple species. Let's just cut and dry it. Let's stop changing acronyms. Let's stop changing sex types. Let's just call them aliens.
Aliens. They could be extra dimensional. They could be extraterrestrial. They could be a whole bunch of different things. They could be ancient terrestrial. They call them ultra terrestrials. Things that have been on Earth for a long period of time. Either way, they're all alien to human, right? At least the current version
job of the government is to govern, but they're not good teachers. You know, that they should like figure out somebody else to do this teaching job, and it should really fall out of the education part of this. Should fall out of the hands of the government because it's not good. The government should educate some company, whoever group to educate the public.
It should.
It's all the above.
Yeah, all the above. Thank you, Zombie.
All of the above.
All the above.
And below.
And in between, apparently.
And sideways.
As long as there's enough room in there to park a semi, I think we'll be fine. Let's continue.
Well, I won't speculate as to that other than, reaffirm what they have said. But Tommy, I will speak to something that has been released. So there was that illustration that was shown. If you look through the files, a lot of headlines have been posting it. It looks like a metallic sphere. And I will say that was actually from a briefing that we got with the FBI. It was up until recently, up until it was declassified, an ongoing investigation because it was observed by contractors. And what I will say is that this is not something that's just made up. There were investigators looking into this extensively. But what was alarming to me specifically is the amount of effort and resistance that existed within the intelligence community to either prevent us from getting this information out to the American people or to try to discredit witnesses that had come forward with information, not to mention the release of their medical records to try to discredit them in the event of what happened with David Grush. And
no, it sounds like she's just talking about Aro there, isn't it? I think so.
Yeah, she is not focusing on.
Yeah, discrediting whistleblowers, potentially releasing their medical information about them and other stuff. It's just, it's an internal catfight that the only way sometimes the best medicine for something like this is sunlight. Put it in the brightness and we'll all see what it is and get past it.
I agree. All of it should come out.
And so I think.
Yep, exactly.
I think that you'll concur and agree with me that whenever you have the federal government telling you you can't look at something, what to think, and that if you ask questions, you're crazy, I think that tells you about the angle and perspective that currently existed up until recently. And so, yes, this has been an interesting investigation. We've been on this for a while. Burchett's been really leading the charge on this since the beginning. But remember, there's still a lot that we face from within our own intelligence communities.
Wow. Well, Congresswoman, you've given us a lot to chew on here. I do believe we are in the age of disclosure, and I know that you and Congressman Burchett are working so hard to get the American people the answers. We always appreciate it. Thank you for your fearlessness in that endeavor.
God bless.
Always great to hear.
All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new...
Go away. We don't need you there. Always great to have Anna Paulina Luna to come in and talk to us and tell us about what's going on out there. We haven't heard a lot from her since before the drop happened, so this is an update from about a day and a half ago. Always great to see Anna Paulina Luna. In our next clip we're getting to, before we go over our next video, we've got Merrick von Rennenkampf. He's been running, if you want to call it, he's been not approaching, he's been taking on the debunkers one by one, Mick West and others, the average Chris and different people out there who are literally attacking the videos and trying to say it's just balloons, it's just bullshit, it's not real. And these are probably the people who are like funded by the federal government, because remember, Mick West, he actually gave a speech that was mandatory for the NASA when NASA had their panel and they were doing their investigation. One of the symposiums that they went to, there was a section by Mick West that was talking about how to take the data and make it boring and bury the details so nobody cares about it. Why would you, if you're trying to bring data out and share it with people and bring it out to the public because it was NASA is a civilian space agency, why would scientists at NASA purposely try to skew their data and their representation of it to bore the audience that these people are actually paid to be a part of? It just, it just shows there's a lot of skullduggery going on in the background that's just kind of messing this up. And one of the guys who's fighting this on a daily basis on X, and he'll be in June 6th, June 6th or June 8th, I think it is, June 8th. He'll be on Monday with Lou Elizondo up here in Seattle. Can't wait to go ahead and see him, my folks. So, friends, let's go ahead and play this clip now of Merrick von Rennenkampf giving people a dose of reality. Great guy. Here we go.
For more, we're welcoming in UFO journalist and former Defense Department official Marek von Rennenkampf. I appreciate you being here tonight, and I'm so curious, what do you make of this new batch? Is there any specific video or piece of information that's standing out?
Thanks, Natasha. There's a lot to unpack here, and I'll just start by emphasizing that the videos lack a lot of critical information. A lot of the symbology that tells us where the camera's looking, where the plane is flying,
Bingo.
Is redacted. So there's limited kind of usefulness for some of these videos. That said, I would encourage your viewers to go to war.gov/UFO and search for spherical UAP in and out of clouds. It's a very interesting video that appears to show a rounded spherical object hiding behind some clouds, for lack of a better word, maneuvering and then flying behind some other clouds. Of course, these videos require extensive analysis before we can have any confidence that we're seeing something truly anomalous. But that right off the bat is a very, very interesting video. And I'll just briefly highlight another set of documents that were corroborated by sensor images, infrared sensor images. And this is really an extraordinary series of events just a few months ago in late 2025, where two senior intelligence officials were out at a military testing range out in the western United States. And they had a series of just truly extraordinary experiences flying in a helicopter, observing bright reddish orange orbs, very, very in close proximity to their helicopter that would flare up, appear in a T-shaped formation apparently. And this was all documented in images that accompanied this release. So a lot to unpack, but those are the two. If I had to really pick two items that really stood out to me, it was that one video and that pretty remarkable incident.
Yeah, I appreciate you parsing through that for us. Let's take a listen. In reaction to this release on Friday, News Nation's Ross Coulthart had this to say.
Why has the government concealed this for so long? I suspect a lot of it is because the Pentagon, admitting that there are superior technologies operating on this planet that are not ours, and they don't appear to be foreign adversaries, and we don't like admitting that we're not the apex predator anymore.
You see Harvard's Avi Loeb nodding there in agreement. Do you agree with Ross that we're in fact not the apex predator anymore, that extraterrestrial life exists and it's clearly superior?
That's a point blank question. And look, from my analysis, looking at 80 years of records, really just truly remarkable consistency from the 1940s and the 1950s. Some of the work that I've done analyzing some of this footage, I'm convinced that there's no question in my mind that there are objects that demonstrate extremely advanced capabilities flying in our atmosphere. And so I look at whether that is non-human intelligence, whether that is some other interdimensional intelligence that we just cannot comprehend at this point. I honestly, I'm at the point where I am convinced that is must be considered as a very, very serious possibility.
Really appreciate it. Mark von Rennenkampf, thank you so much.
So, not the apex predator. The reality of it is, Merrick kind of tiptoed around this, but the reality of this is we've never been the apex predator on this planet. We've never been, as Lou Elizondo of others have said, the top of the food chain or ever on this planet. So to go ahead and dance around that, not answer the question, it just comes down to the truth is, if we have never been there, right? It's okay. We just have to reset our expectations of what we're dealing with disclosure, what's been going on around us, and more importantly, why the government has been lying to us for well over 80 years, if not 90 years, if not longer, about the information they know. You know, they're hiding it because of the old words of national security. Take a drink, folks, on that one, because that's what we're dealing with. It's keeping it quiet because it's not convenient to control the people. It's not convenient to go ahead and keep people in the dark because we're afraid, the government's afraid if this information gets out, people aren't going to be listening to them as much and different things affecting the markets. But the biggest thing to look at.
Can we take a poll?
Yeah, we can.
Or not, we think the government, this administration, the executive branch is going to give us the answer as to why we were lied to for 80 years.
I can give you a simple answer on that, Abe. No.
There's Mike. Yeah, I agree.
No.
That's why I asked for a poll. That's why I asked for a poll.
Well,
but hey, Mike, how you doing, man?
Hey, not bad.
How's the shit doing, Mike? Is it flowing again from here to there? Plumbing?
No, but we could talk after the show about that.
Oh, my. Sorry.
Yeah,
people
okay.
love to hear miseries. That's why I was bringing it up.
Okay, I'll share some of the misery.
Yeah.
The only tool rental place is a big box store called Home Depot. The problem is a lot of the day laborers that tend to congregate around there rent this same equipment. But what they do with this very expensive equipment that isn't cheap, even just to rent for 4 hours, a couple $100, they use it and completely destroy it and bring it back wrecked. And the big box stores don't check anything, but they have no problem in renting it to you for the same amount of money and having you haul junk around it that weighs a few £100 to do absolutely nothing. But they'll charge you very, very quickly for it. So when I go back to the store tomorrow, because I got there when they were closing on a holiday today, there's going to be a bloodbath when I see the manager.
Oh, we're so far. Sorry to hear that, Mike. Yeah, your toilet backed up and the shit's flowing in the wrong direction. It's clogged your main line from your house to the street. You go get the tools you need. You bring them home and the shit's broken.
Yep.
Literally.
No, listen, I called a couple of places first. They all told me their stuff was broken. The place that I finally went to, the stupid kid that was there telling me, oh, no, we check everything out. It works fine. Everything is perfect. He lied. But he's a minimum wage worker, so I guess he really doesn't care too much about that. But I'm going to make sure that his boss does when I get there tomorrow.
Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be getting the rental refunded and having the opportunity to use one and not pay for it at least.
Well,
in theory.
I don't know about that. If they have one. I'll go one better. I called Lowe's just to see if there was any availability, and they told me something very interesting. They don't rent this equipment in New York. They're not stupid. They know what these day laborers do with that equipment, so they won't even bother. Only Home Depot is stupid enough to do it, but they charge you enough for it, so they don't really care either way.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that.
That's the problem. Yeah, it's always something. So I can't catch a break. And then of course,
it's more than a live stream.
Tomorrow.
It's a vlog of the shit we go through in our lives. On top of that, your foot infection's coming back and you're having to deal with shit flowing the wrong way out of your pipes.
That's right. And I have to see the surgeon tomorrow in the morning. So I'm not going to get to the war that I'm going to start at Home Depot until the afternoon.
So if they want to lock you up back in the hospital, you have to finish the war first and then you can get in there.
Oh no, I'm gonna get my pound of flesh tomorrow from the Home Depot, and I'm definitely gonna get my money back. And if they don't want to give it to me, that's not a problem. I get it back from the bank, but I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But yeah, the war starts tomorrow. And hey, today was Memorial Day, so we go from remembering a war to going into a war tomorrow.
Fighting a war. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Sorry to live in your misery, but the audience loves it.
No, it's okay. But listen, a quick mention about Marek van Rennenkamp.
Yeah.
The video you just played, he was repeating all of the points that Lou Elizondo has been making for years now. Nothing different, nothing new. Yeah, we're not the apex predator. Yeah, we're not alone on this earth. Yeah, Lou has been saying that for years now.
But that was actually the reporter who brought it up, but Van Rennenkamp actually tiptoed around it and didn't address it directly.
Yeah, I know. But if you remember, Lou was the first one to make those points and bring it out for years now. Yeah. And now they're repeating it. So that's what I picked up on. I think it's interesting.
Oh, it is.
I don't think until we hear the president or the Pentagon say that, then, like it's not verified until it's out there. And I appreciate that Lou said it. Like Mike said, I don't think Von Rennenkamp saying it, even though I respect Von Rennenkamp. I think he's very intelligent. He does really great research. But I don't think him saying it makes much of a difference.
No, it really doesn't. I agree with you on that, Abe. And as far as the president saying that, I wouldn't hold my breath if I was you right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to say that. I agree. Just like I don't think he's going to say the reason why we were lied to for 80 years. I don't think that's going to happen.
Or what the drones were over New Jersey, like he promised us he would.
Yeah, especially because we didn't get that part.
No, right. So listen, Thomas and I are well aware of all of this, but we're hopeful because even with all of that, we're still getting a release of anomalous information from the federal government and the executive branch that we haven't gotten in 80 years. So that's a step in the right direction.
Right. I agree with that. I just wish that they were doing it better, that they were being professional about it. And I said this earlier to Thomas, that the government is good at governing, but they're not good at teaching. And I just think that they need to pass this on. They need to teach somebody, some organization, group, company, how to teach the public about this, because they're not doing a good enough. They're not doing a good job. This suspenseful 2-week drop of videos that are lackluster, this ain't working. This is not education.
I'll go one step further, Abe. I'll tell you this. For them to take anomalous footage and release it to the public and then go the extra mile to put the work, time, energy, money, and effort that they put in to turn these anomalous videos into as much of a nothing burger as they can, that's not an easy trick. These disclosure dots they've been feeding us, it takes work to do that.
And also going ahead and taking any of the on-screen displays and completely blacking them out when it's not necessary. If it's out in international waters, it's in the Gulf of Arabia, the Gulf of Oman, we're talking the Strait of Hormuz, all the different areas that it could potentially be over the water, over the land, unless we're dealing with stuff that's like over Russia or, China, one of our adversaries. They probably shouldn't release those videos anyway, but it gives us an idea of what's going on, but we can't tell the speed. Sometimes we can tell the size because the UI comes in and tells us what's going on. But for the most part, the redactions we're getting are overzealous. Ridiculous.
There's no reason for them. Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. All of the above, without a doubt. And they're putting the extra mile in to put the effort in to give us as little as possible. So one can say they're doing a lot of work, just not what we wanted.
They're doing a lot of work to keep the truth away from us is what they're doing.
Yeah. Listen, it takes a lot of man hours to down-res those high-resolution videos, doesn't it? Yeah, and redact the shit out of everything.
No, that's a one shot. They have to go ahead and they have to go redact all the different spots that it would be, putting overlays on top of the video that's going to be shown, slicing it up in case there's camera views to get those replaced again. But more importantly, it's about when they're outputting the file, that's when they can actually lower what we're getting coming from, what do you want to call it? Coming from the quality wise, because they can lower the bit rate, and as they lower the bit rate, the quality goes away.
Right, but it's that they're spending money and effort, is my point, to give us as little as possible.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. Yeah,
without a doubt, my friend.
Right, exactly. But listen, you never know. As the pressure builds and people push harder, maybe down the road, they may have no choice but to give us something.
Yeah.
At least an acknowledgement. Something.
One comment.
Yeah.
This is Ryan from last night.
Who?
Ryan, I talked to you.
I have no idea. Just make a comment.
Yeah.
Oh, Thomas, I just realized we're neighbors, man. You're the only person I know that's into this that's in Seattle.
Yeah, I'm north of Seattle.
I'm Seattle also, so if you want to get together and have beer or something. But,
let's talk about it after the show, definitely.
One thing I want to mention, I'm going to get off here, is it seems when you walk around in public, ask how many people have been following this, ask how many people have even thought about it or read a book or done anything. And it's kind of up in the air as far as what the general populace is really.
Don't ask them hard questions. Don't ask them if they've read a book, they've done research on it. Ask them if they've seen news of this in their social media or in their news feeds and what they think about it. Dealing with coworkers and people that I haven't even talked with in months, or I've never talked to about this. I've asked at my place of employment, and about 2/3 plus of the people have heard about this, and the initial splash was enough to get out there. We're just at a point now where things are dying off, because if I said earlier today, I went through 5 or 6 hours, now 7 hours of news feed coming off of News Nation talking about this. Currently now is out of their news programming. There's nothing on their program today about this.
Right. Well, I'll send you an email, Thomas. Maybe we'll go have.
Yep, Thomas at Disclosure tonight. Hit me up there.
One more comment. I think this next release is going to be the biggest. I think I've been waiting for the third one. We'll see where it goes after this next one. We'll be able to see if there's a gradual more information on each one, as they say.
My biggest problem.
If this next one's a dud, then I'm getting kind of negative about the whole thing.
There's no one setting.
I'm going to get off the air.
There's no one setting expectations for this yet. That's the problem. We don't have Burchett saying about stuff. The only thing Burchett's saying is we're not going to have any more hearings, because nothing ever frickin' happens when we have a hearing, right, Mike?
No, they have no funding, they have no staff, they have no subpoena power, and they have no motive to go in and actually do investigation on this and look into this. So that's, and of course, since they stood Arrow up, which is a roadblock for any government intervention or investigation into this, gets shut right down by Susan Goff and Arrow.
Right.
So there are a few problems there.
It's a fly paper operation. Get those who know the information. They bring them in. They get them under tighter NDAs. They do shady things about their reputation and do stuff to go ahead and retaliate against them, when we just have people who are trying to bring out the truth.
Right. But like Lou told us, there's tens of millions of these files that the government has been keeping from us all these years. So it's going to probably take a while to go through them all and get them out.
Yeah, I would just like to see the
I'm not excited about that, though. I mean, I'm not excited because I feel like this is turning into a weaponized podcast. Just the executive is form. Now every 2 weeks we're going to get a heart palpitation over, oh shit, is it going to be good UFO videos, or no, we're going to get this lackluster shit every 2 weeks from the White House.
How about this? Take in consideration the next UFO dump is not going to happen, and then when we get it, it's going to be like shit, right? Or that way, when it gets there and we're looking at it, then you can be, oh my gosh, this is great. Look at this, all this other stuff. This part's crappy, but don't overset your expectations. That's the thing we've learned.
But like you said, we live in a post-disclosure world now. Today is not 2 years ago, before COVID,
We're
5 years ago when Obama was in.
We're not
So
post-disclosure.
everybody's partying. That's what the news is saying. This is like everybody's saying, all right, well, this was Disclosure Day. The last two tranches were Disclosure Day. So that means that today is post-disclosure. I mean, everybody's not on the same level of education, but it's out there now, right?
Yes and no. There hasn't been any confirmation from the president or an executive order or even a memo for that matter declassifying this information once and for all. So is it this actual disclosure? Not as far as I can see it. Not yet.
On paper, okay. In the
All
history
right,
book,
I'm going to go
fair.
ahead. This sounds like a good poll for us to go ahead and settle on. As I've got this video up for us to go ahead and take a look at. It's one of our top stories for today. It is our top story. All right, let's see what's coming in from the audience. Disclosure has happened. Okay, Google, set a timer for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
1 minute
Now, okay, there we go. Minute and 30 seconds, folks. We already have 39 votes in, 42 votes in. Disclosure has happened. Disclosure has started, or maybe something else. So far, coming out of the gate, disclosure has started, and that's where I sit. It's started. We have 100 or tens of millions of files that we need to go through, right, Mike?
Yes, that's correct.
Tens of millions of files, which means the process has started for us. Not the government, but actually for the citizens in the rest of the world. Can't wait for another country to start actually giving some stuff. We'll get into saying we're beyond starter in a bit, but Mike, 95 votes in, which is 45 seconds left to go, folks. I don't think we're going to get, audience has spoken at this point. There's no way to go anywhere else. Yeah, it started. And that's where I feel. I know where a majority of our audience feels as well.
No, I agree with that. That's the right answer. It started, but it hasn't happened yet. There's a difference.
Well,
right.
Happen meaning it's done. But think about this. We have tens of millions of files, but we also have to learn all the information from the non-human intelligence of where they're at, what their worlds, what are their histories, what have they been doing on this planet, all of this stuff that just goes beyond the nuts and bolts of crafts and whether they're interdimensional or whatever they are.
Right. That's correct.
Let's go ahead on that one. 119 votes in, 120 votes in. Yes, the audience has spoken. Let me end that poll. Thank you, Anna Paulina Luna, for celebrating that with us. And the final results are...
2/3 of the audience thinks that it started.
Yeah, it started.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. On that note, let's go ahead and get back to this video. All right, so here we're going to start off showing a plane taking off. If I need to go back, and on this one, it's a FLIR. White is hot, black is cold. The bottom part of the plane, Mike, as you can see here, that's not getting exposed to the sun and everything, is black. If we can see where the engines are, right there, it's like a tail-mounted plane, like a MD-80 or something to that extent, where they have the engines back by the tail of the plane. So that lets us know what we're kind of looking at. Let's watch what happens as, let me get into a full screen on this one. This comes in. This is an MQ-9 Reaper drone. It's on the ground, just for if you want to call it, for reference. It's on the ground. It's going to take off. And when it takes off, Mike, it just zooms straight into the air. And immediately, it's going to target something, like it's trying to find something in the clouds.
Right.
As it's moving along, it's looking for things that are out there. It doesn't see anything just yet. But as we get to it, it just changed. And it's looking at something. Now, usual people don't see what's going on here. But there's something moving in the distance. Now, if I zoom in a little bit, rewind, you're going to be seeing a little bit bigger than usual. This is, what do you call it, the crosshair, Mike? Coming in from the actual craft itself. There's something moving right around here. Unless you look, that's going backward. Let's bring it in. We're going to see it going to move. Let me play it in regular. And there it is. Hold on. It's moving on a line right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more, bring it down. Let me go back. You can see this. This is bigger than a disclosure dot. This is a craft that they're chasing, and it's going through the crosshairs. There it is, moving across again right there. Now, you can tell they're watching it because all of a sudden they're going to go ahead and jump across, and there's the object again right there. And you can see it out in the clouds. And this, believe it or not, this little disclosure dot here is clearly what they're tracking at this point. Now, I don't think this is cloaking. It could be, it could be a craft that is not visible to the naked eye or to visual spectrums like from a camera, but it's something you would see with a high-powered FLIR. And that's what we've got going on here. They're not looking at a plane. They're not looking at something else. There's something going through the clouds. Now that they've lost it, but it was there and they were tracking it. So it really comes down to this has more of a, if you want to call it, prominence of something that looks like a cigar kind of shape, not, basically a longer Tic Tac version of the dot, more like a Mike and Ike's, right, Mike?
That's right.
Or Good
it
and
looks
Plenty.
more like, it looks to me sort of like a flea on a pet's fur when you're trying to find
maybe, but it's a bit thinner and there and everything that's going on. So if anything, we're not looking like at a Tic Tac, we're looking at like a Mike and Ike's. A little bit longer, right? A little bit wider, and some people were saying, wow, that could be a saucer. But if it was, we just don't know. But it's
not
there.
with this video, we don't.
No.
Right.
And if there are additional sensors that are helping them see what's going on, Mike, they're not showing it to us. They're not sharing it with us at all. So it just comes down to going ahead and looking at the details, seeing what's there, going ahead and just trying to, this is, if you want to call it, going through the hair with the fine-tooth comb to actually find those fleas or what are the other things that get in little kids' hair? Lice. Yes. We're looking for the lice and the rough. Daryl, welcome, my friend. Glad to hear that you got a warning. How fast were you going?
Well, as I told him, I said, you got me coming over the top of the hill when I was passing a semi. So, and this guy, he told me when he pulled over, he said, I'm glad you pulled over because there was no way I could have kept up with you. I'm like, well, it was run from the cops. But anyway, so yeah, it was just, he gave me a warning. It's not a big deal, but it was just
at least he didn't give you a ticket. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And I just want to say on this, there is also an object in the foreground when you zoom out.
Oh, was it the light colored one, right?
Yeah.
And that's more at the beginning, right?
I think it's right around here.
Let's zoom out all the way. That's where there we go. There it is. So in addition to that disclosure dot that we saw in the distance at the bottom of the screen, oh, Jesus Christ, it's supposed to be dealing with the zoom here, not with that. Hold on. Zoom out again. Let's get to we got the plane going there. Let's get back to 30 seconds. And where's our little white disclosure dot friend? Okay. Let me hide Daryl and everybody else. It's going to be right around here. You can do it. There it comes. You said, here we go. This thing is hauling. It's closer to the camera than the disclosure dot in the back that we were looking at. But this one here is now going from place to place to place, and it's actually got a good amount of, oomph behind it, because if you look at, Chad, I have to turn you off. If you look at the distance this dot takes from location to location, it's covering a large amount of space. And the reason that we're seeing it look like that is the frame rate of the camera is too low to actually pick up the motion of the object going from here to here to here. So this object that's here in the foreground could easily be moving 2, 3, 4,000, 5,000 miles an hour at least, based on how quickly it is going across the field of view. Now, what's sad is we don't have the information about this saying, what is the field of view? What is, where are we looking where we don't have a compass to say where we're going towards and everything. But it definitely does give us an opportunity to see, there's not just one thing in here. And this is probably what a lot of people paid attention to. But the reality was, what were they looking for in the crosshairs? So,
and what does that say, Thomas, with your, because you've studied these things flying around, like the jets and the thing in Malta. What does that say about the Disclosure cigar that was behind the clouds? Sorry, Mike, we're just going to make a brand of cigars and dots.
Yeah.
The cigar that was behind the clouds, it seemed like it was moving, like the frame, it wasn't going as fast as this thing is, right?
Well, this one is, where's it at again? There it comes across. This one is a lot closer to the camera. Because of that, you're looking at the difference between, let's say, the clouds here versus the clouds way out here.
It's interesting you can see these things moving sort of synchronous. I mean, when you, like, it was just in that frame before. Yeah. It's interesting. You can see it moving and the other one moving. Very interesting.
Yeah, and it seems this object here, or whatever it is in the background, it looks like whatever it's encoded at this point is we're not seeing movement every frame. We're seeing movement every 2 to 3 frames. I mean, if I hit advance 1, there it goes, 1, 2, it advances, 1, 2, 3, it advances, 1, 2, it advances, 1, 2, 3, 4 advances, 1.
So you had 4 advances there, and it moved one little space on the one in the background.
Right, but some frames only take, like, to go from this one to that one. That's just one frame. One from right here to right here. You can see I'm going one frame to the next frame to the next frame. That's one frame advance, and that little disclosure dot is jumping every time. But sometimes now I hit this one, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's doing a 2 to 3 pull down, meaning that we're seeing that it's just a difference in the frame rate of what this is being recorded at versus, and what it's seeing versus what the actual playback is.
So you think it's going just as fast possibly in the background as it is in the foreground? I'm just what I'm trying to know.
When we're looking at this one at 30 seconds in, it goes to change it. We're looking for, there goes the disclosure dot here in the back. Trying to get it. Okay, the disclosure dot is
it's on the very right-hand side.
It's on the very far left-hand side.
Oh, yeah, from your point of view, yeah.
Okay, now it shifts. It's going to go and try and chase it going across again. I think we lost the disclosure dot at this point. Let me go back to where it was at. There it is. So it's right here. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, but it's not moving. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and that's where they're changing it across. So let me go back to this way. Let me go rewind it a little bit. It's right there. You can see, Daryl, as it's going across right here where my cursor is, you're seeing that little thing crawl across.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's going back in reverse again. We got it going forward again. There's no major jumps going on.
Right.
So the object in the foreground is going much faster, at least in appearance, maybe because it's closer than the disclosure dot in the back.
Yeah.
And I don't think, this is the black dot trying to avoid the white one. No. I think we're just seeing two different things in the sky at the same time. Basically, how do you put this? The sky is classified, Daryl. We're not allowed to know what's going on in the sky that's not from us.
Reality is classified, as we said years ago.
Reality is classified. Reality.
Yeah, it is. So that's the big one going on, and it's just a matter of understanding what the hell it is and what's going on. And yeah, each of these videos has multiple Easter eggs in it that you can go and look for and try and determine what we're seeing in the skies. Because, what do they say? Don't ask us. We're not going to tell you what's in the sky. We're going to leave that up to you. So
And props to Tim for finding that. I think, wasn't he? Tim, that was a good catch.
Yeah, Tim Senor popped into the chat after the show last night. He's like, bring this up. And we had initially Kyle bringing it up.
Go to bed and he goes, hey, I got this thing.
Son of a bitch. All right, let's go ahead and do it. And I've got the setup where I can easily take a video, zoom in on it, pan it around, which just makes it so much easier for trying to figure out what the hell we're looking at.
Yeah, it's great. You've got that technology to do that.
It's built into the Mac. Basic feature, cheapest
Macs are God.
Yeah, I know. I'll say it again. Goddamn Dino Beater. Exactly. All right, where are we going next? Okay, so no,
UAP files on the Pentagon.
Jesus, go there. Let me get to this next clip. On our next clip, we've got coming up. We've got Dan Farah. He's on Elizabeth Vargas Reports, talking about that this UFO file dump barely scratches the surface. And if there's tens of millions of files out there, Mike.
Yeah, he's right. I agree with Dan Farah for the first time on that.
So let's get up to it. Let's play it. And I think on this one, it's safe to say we will pause it as we're watching it and go through it in that way. Why is it so okay, let's get to it. Okay, here we go. Clearly, Elizabeth Vargas is on vacation, but let's see what Dan Farah, the director of great movie, takes us. Here we go.
News Nation Chief Correspondent Brian Enton has been pouring through these documents. Brian, hello. What videos caught your attention?
Yeah, I've been going through these videos and the new documents since 8 a.m. this morning, Hannah, when they all were first released. And there's some really interesting ones. 64 total, second big batch that's been released. President Trump obviously ordered that these videos be released. Let me show you this first one. This is video here from a U.S. military sensor in Syria. This one is getting a lot of attention. The video, I think we're going to play it here in a second. The video is from 2021, and you can see what looks like a bright sphere. There it is. Sort of like a bright sphere.
Wait a minute. That does not look like a sphere to me.
No.
Just saying. Sphere is round. That looks more like an ear of corn that's been halfway shucked.
Yep.
I mean, the ear of corn is here, and then we've got the back, yeah.
Looking orb traveling over the surface. And if you wait a couple of seconds here, Hannah, and watch it closely, it picks up speed, and then it literally
Zoom. There you go. Oh, shit. What the hell? Meant to...
This one is interesting, Hannah. A formation of UFOs over the Persian Gulf. You see right there, again, captured by a military sensor. There are what appear to be 3 dots. You can see traveling together.
3 disclosure dots, Mike.
Thank you. I was just going to say that. Yep. 3 disclosure
Sometimes
dots.
They kind of space apart a little more, and then they get closer together. And this video was uploaded to a classified network in October.
But then again, we have people like Mick West saying all of these things are birds or balloons.
Right.
Or parallax.
Yeah. National security, folks. Drink up. Here we go.
Drink up.
Of 2019. Again, experts do not seem to know what this is. Another video here. We move on to the next one. This one is from October of 2020. Look at that. See that little black dot? We circled it. Traveling.
A what? A black dot? A black disclosure dot.
Across the city. We don't know exactly where this is. Military isn't telling us. But again, captured by a military sensor. They don't know what it is, and it just moves very slowly there. Across the screen, again, from October 2020. It goes from the city there, and then it goes out over to the mountains. I wish we knew the location. There's a lot they left out when they gave descriptions for these videos. We don't know if they're being vague on purpose, but this one was...
Of course they're being vague on purpose. That's a cover-up.
Yeah, no
They don't
shit,
want to give
Sherlock.
us the truth.
Right.
Interesting, Hannah. You see, just continues to move over the mountains there. Some of these videos, we obviously...
Now, someone had said, oh my gosh, look, Mike, we're looking at a flying saucer. No, we're not. We're looking at a sphere, at least on this one.
Right.
Because we're seeing it from an angle like this. And if it was a saucer, you would get some kind of a... Old COVID mask. Here we go. You know, if it was a saucer... and you would maybe see it on a little bit of an angle and a little bit of a turn, maybe because the camera's coming down from this angle, which means you're going to get something coming from the top, but you're not going to get a perfect spherical look at it. And the only way you would get that is if the, the FLIR camera is looking straight down, and clearly it's not, based on what we're seeing of the nearby mountains, what's going on.
Right. It's usually a side view.
Yeah. But there is a little bit coming in here where it's almost like reflecting light from the different angles. You never know what's going to go unless you're, I'll leave that alone. But yeah, here we go.
For you, but some of them go on 10, 13 minutes where they literally track these objects, and it just goes on and on and on, and then eventually the object leaves the screen. Also in the release today, there was a recording of an astronaut Scott Carpenter from 1962. This radio recording, Henna, when he was up in space on the radio, this recording has never been released before, where there's no video, but he described seeing something very strange, something that he said.
Really quick, they're talking about a phenomenon when people are in space, when they're inside the craft and they have their eyes closed, they see blue lights being picked up by their retina, right?
It's cosmic rays, yes.
Cosmic radiation. Cosmic rays is what the cost is. So now,
tonight,
on the
I saw
first
some
dump,
blue.
we got
I saw some blue lights. I saw some blue lights tonight too. I hope I didn't get any cosmic radiation.
Said looked like snowflakes, and again, that was unexplained. Henna?
I mean, the mystery still remains, but always fun to watch and get to the bottom of this. Brian Unton, thank you. My next guest directed and produced the explosive film, The Age of Disclosure. It features interviews with over 30 government insiders and alleges an 80-year global cover-up, concealing the existence of intelligent alien life and, of course, technology. Dan Farah joining me live now. Dan, welcome to the show. We've been excited to talk to you all day. Your film argues we're entering a new era of disclosure, transparency after today's.
Daryl, we found someone else in the world who isn't taking Ozempic.
Well, good for him, because he'll be healthier and live longer.
Exactly.
Do you believe this is the transparency the UFO community has been looking for this whole time?
Yeah, look, I think we're living through a major turning point in human history, and I couldn't be prouder of the role the film is playing in it. The Age of Disclosure drove a national conversation that led to our government taking this historic, unprecedented disclosure movement and moving it forward.
Well, there's a couple of videos that are getting a lot of buzz tonight. I talked about a few. Brian Enton brought up a few as well. One video was filmed by an infrared sensor. It was on a military platform. It happened near Syria in 2021. It shows an object that appears to just instantaneously accelerate, going from a dead stop to extreme speed in a fraction of a second. I believe that's the video. Yeah, that is it. What do you make of what we're seeing, Dan?
Look, I think a lot of the videos released today and in the first tranche of evidence released on May 8th, they show UAP performing in ways that no known aircraft can. These things are moving faster than our fastest fighter jets. They're displaying the ability to do instantaneous acceleration. Simply put, there is no human-made technology that can do that.
Let's move on to another video that appears to show the moment a fighter jet shot down a UFO over Lake Huron. This was in 2023. This incident came after
That's a fucking balloon.
Chinese spy balloon was spotted over the U.S.
That's not even a Chinese spy balloon. That just looks like a regular balloon they freaking shot down, which doesn't match the picture that was put out from Canada. And they released the actual image, and it's not what they're showing here.
And it certainly wasn't a balloon.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's a discrepancy.
Yeah. Well,
as we're looking at
wasn't
that.
it Tim Burchett who warned us that some of the videos we're going to be getting are going to be prosaic, and they're throwing them in there to kind of throw the public off and feed people? Actually, they're feeding people like Mick West.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
He says that stuff happens in the skiffs that they're in. There are people in the skiffs that are trying to detract them. I mean, so was it you was talking about they spent more money covering this up than actually investigating it.
It's been stated that 90% of the funds that are spent on the program, which is the reverse engineering, retrieval, all the different kind of stuff that they're doing within the government, 90% of the budgets are spent on security, and only 10% is actually spent on research. Sounds like it's a problem. Alice, your hand is up.
Hi, Thomas. Yeah, I'm wondering if you could think ahead with what's going on. What do you think the end game is here with disclosure? What do you think they're getting to? Do you think we're going to have much better videos and
undeniable proof that we are not alone on this planet? That's about where it's going to go. We're getting an acknowledgement of that. They're showing us the information. They're not going to tell us anything about their military programs or what technology they've taken and used for what advanced platforms or any of the technology that they're getting in. And they're not going to tell us about shooting down craft. They're not going to tell us about if there was any kind of interaction between us and them and when abductions and things were going to going on, because that just opens a huge lawsuit liability for the federal government. They're probably not going to tell us about which Department of Defense contractors got this stuff back in the day and have profited from it, and their shareholders have greatly profited from it, and the companies that have gone out of business. Because, Mike, is it what are going to give us? SEC violations? Or?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
So
you don't think that it will be a full disclosure?
Never.
It's just a little something to appease us?
Well, it's a disclosure that can be done without violating those two magic words, national security. Unfortunately.
Oh, my God.
You know?
I just see that these first images don't really give us a lot at all.
Not this one.
I'm kind of discouraged.
The second one, the first video dump we got was really tame and contained. The second one was better. League's better. Let's hope the next one is going to continue and give us that next better piece versus it going down and then fading out. We need to keep the momentum going.
Hegseth said he was going to give it little by little. I can see that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like what I said, the end game, is it going to be occupants and craft, or just things flying across the sky like this? That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, are we going to get beyond disclosure dots and start talking about the actual craft that are in the sky and what they're doing here? Yes, I would hope we're going to get past just the imagery and start talking about what they're doing here. Because the biggest thing, what we've been seeing, how many of these videos that we just saw were actually over military bases? Of the 46 videos that were just released, how many? Not one. Not one.
Not one?
Not one. We've seen some videos of like submarines or different boats and stuff operating, which means it's technically over our forces that we have deployed or our enemy's forces that are out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we
don't. When you see something like this with the crosshair, is that another plane, or is this?
This is
who's taking this video?
What are they driving? F-22s or F-16s flying over Canada? One of the two.
Okay, thank you.
But we don't have the coordinates to know exactly where this shoot down was. So which shoot down was it? Suppose if they shot down something over Dead Horse, Alaska, they then shot down something over the Yukon. Then they shot down something over Lake Huron, which on the first day it was by Maelstrom Air Force Base, where we just have, some nuclear missiles that we could go ahead and launch. And then the next day it was out over Lake Huron, the same object, supposedly. But this is
the one where, I don't know if it was debunked or not, where it looked like a missile went into wind and bounced off. Has that been debunked?
That was a different one. That one was from somewhere in Yemen, I believe.
Okay.
And that wasn't included in this release.
That's still being touted as legit.
Is it? That's what I was wondering. That was pretty amazing. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the questions, Alice. Hopefully you're feeling better today. Every day, a little bit every day. All right. So Steve Mateo, thank you. Great show, guys. Appreciate the donations. Super chats are coming in. Thank you, folks. We try to do our best here on this. Let's get back to this clip from Dan Farrow. talking about the disclosure. Here we go, folks.
Video now. And then you kind of just see it implode. What do you make of this?
Balloon.
Yeah, look, it's more of the same. I think what we're seeing now is the evidence that the government can safely declassify and share with the public. But it's important to remember this barely scratches the surface. There is a lot of evidence that still exists within various federal agencies, various private defense contractors, and branches of the military that is still heavily classified. Right now, what's happening is the White House is driving forward an effort to get that evidence out of those federal agencies and out of the various branches of the military so that they can start declassifying more. But what we're seeing now barely scratches the surface. There's a lot of evidence that shows UAP that are clearly not made by humans doing things that humans do not currently have the ability to do.
Your documentary alleges an 80-year global cover-up concealing the existence of alien life and, of course, its technology. The Pentagon has not drawn any conclusions as to whether these videos indicate non-human life. But what do you think? Do you think these are actual?
Sorry, I had to get a refill of national security here, folks. Couple things. First of all, if they're showing a video of a balloon getting shot down, why doesn't Dan Farrar go ahead and say, you know what? What we're looking at here at this point in time is the government going ahead and releasing videos of prosaic stuff that they know is not a UAP to go ahead and confuse everybody. That's my first bit. Let me go back on the second point here.
Cover up, concealing the existence of alien life and, of course, its technology. The Pentagon has not drawn any conclusions as to whether these videos.
Bullshit. She's defending the Pentagon at this point. And that's the part that's concerning. The Pentagon knows what these things are. They've been going and covering this stuff up for 80 years. They've been looking at video after video after video after video and reports and everything. They have a good intelligence analysis of really what these things are. They've seen all the different types. They've collected all the different data, seeing how they move and what's going on. Mike, do you think they don't know anything about this, like she's saying? Or they know what this shit is, but they're not sharing it with the general public?
No, they know everything about this. They have advanced sensor systems, satellites, the NGA, the NRO. There's a lot more than they're telling the public. We know that.
Yep. Exactly. It's a cover-up.
Yep.
Let's continue. Here we go.
Indicate non-human life. But what do you think? Do you think these are actual alien videos that have been released that we're watching?
Look, all my sources inside of government, the military, and the intelligence community very clearly have ruled out UAP being made by humans.
You know what we're missing here really quick too, Mike? Jeremy Corbell said, yeah, I saw these videos before. Yeah, these things are real. But Dan's not talking like he actually have seen any of these potential videos, because all those 8 videos that Jeremy brought out 2 weeks ago, a week before the dump happened, they're all in the dump.
Yeah. Right.
There's no reason to believe this is human-made technology. Certainly, if one of our adversaries, a foreign nation, had leapfrogged us by 100 years technologically and made these things, that's the biggest story in the history of the world on its own. If somebody within the U.S. has leapfrogged the rest of humanity by 100 years and figured out how to crack this technology, and the U.S. government is unaware of it, that also is the biggest story in the history of the world. And if it turns out definitively all of this is, controlled by non-human intelligent life, that's the biggest story in the history of the world. Any way you cut it, what's unfolding, in real time before our eyes is the biggest story in the history of humanity.
And many people out there will agree with you, including me, really. So there will be a third drop in the near future. What other files are you hoping to see?
My understanding is that this is going to be a rolling disclosure process, and there's likely going to be more declassified evidence every few weeks, if not every month. What's actually unfolding right now is the White House is trying to get this evidence out of the various federal agencies and the branches of the military and defense contractors. And as they get access to evidence, they can then evaluate it and decide what can be declassified and what still needs to remain classified. But there's certainly a battle waging behind the scenes. A lot of these intelligence agencies, keep in mind, they're intelligence agencies. Their stated purpose is secrecy, right? They're in the business of secrets. And so they're not easily giving up this evidence and these secrets they hold. So there's this tug of war happening behind the scenes where the president's cabinet is trying to wrestle this evidence out so that they can start sharing stuff with the public. And it's going to be a rolling process. It's going to be that's why I called the film, my documentary, The Age of Disclosure, not the moment of disclosure, right? Because it's not a singular moment. It's a process that's going to unfold, and it's going to have milestones and hurdles, and it's going to play out most likely over the course of this entire year. But one day we'll look back at this relatively small period of time, and I think we'll view it as the age of disclosure, the period of time where all of this extremely significant information that's been covered up for decades becomes known to the public.
All right, Dan Farah, thank you so much. His film, The Age of Disclosure, is available for purchase or rent on Prime Video. Thank you again, Dan.
Thank you for watching.
Interesting conversations all the way around, Mike, and it still tags everything to it's a cover-up, and the government is still, dragging their feet. We've heard the CIA is preventing information from coming forward. We're having similar issues going in the DOD, including the Air Force, Space Force, etc. They're doing what they can to keep the truth from coming forward. And it may not be the individuals in those actual agencies that are there, but Mike, it's these unelected bureaucrats who are standing in the way of bringing out the truth. And they are, going against executive orders, which, should have strict penalties.
It's good, but so far, we're not seeing any of that. Not yet. No. The only thing that happened is Tulsi Gabbard resigned and left her post.
Well, she's resigning, and supposedly she's going to go out with a scorched earth policy. Let's see how far that she's allowed to go in that route.
Oh, I hope she does. That would be the right move. Yeah. And she's not a fan of Washington, D.C. and the corruption that goes on there.
And the politics.
She needs to do scorched earth. Yeah, she hates it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's a cesspool. It's a swamp. Drain it. Don't save it, pave it.
I'll burn it to the ground.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Really quick, we've got 580 people watching the show right now. We hit 18,000 subs recently. We're going for 19,000 subs. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love to have you as a subscriber here on Disclosure tonight. We work hard to bring out daily UFO news at this point, Mike. Yeah, we were down to 3 days a week, Monday, Friday, and Saturday. But with the advent of Disclosure moving forward, we're back in force to go ahead and answer the questions and bring the news out for our audience.
Right. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing it.
Yeah, whoever subscribed, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And if you haven't smashed the like button yet, or either way, give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell us what you think down in the comments, and we'll take it. The more interactivity we get, the more people that YouTube will go ahead and share our live stream with. And here's the thing, too. There's a benefit, Mike. Actually, if you watch this live versus watching a recording, the video quality that you get when you watch it live is actually twice as good as when you actually watch it on reruns.
Right.
I've been doing the tests.
Right. No, I know.
I've seen the math.
Yeah, listen, you did that all day yesterday to get everything working correctly.
Yep. All right. Remember Kevin Childress, the person from the
DOE,
from the Department of Energy?
Yeah.
Well, I was hoping that I had the let me get the interview guest. I was hoping I had a recording and downloaded the recording of Kevin Childress or David Childress, Kevin Childress, when he was on the Unidentified Celebrity Review, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hooked up, I turned on the hard drive arrays, turned on the 30 terabytes of data to bring everything up. I don't have that, unfortunately. We're going to have to say this is going to have to come from Lou Jimenez. Hopefully he still has it out there, because he may be the only person, Mike, who has evidence of what Kevin Childress had been saying before he met his untimely demise. Now, what I do have is when Lou Elizondo was on for an interview over at the Unidentified Celebrity Review. We've got an audio clip of a question being asked from Kevin Childress in the audience and Lou reacting to it. So I can't play the clip just because I get along so well with Lou.
Right.
But I've got an audio clip on that note. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This is a whistleblower who was from the Department of Energy, was talking with Lou Elizondo and other people right before he met his untimely demise, like a lot of the other whistleblowers out there. And this is all I can find in my history. So let's play this clip and see where it takes us. Here we go, folks. This is...
Kevin Childress had another question, which was...
Hold on. You got to see the screenshot. Hold on. It's that one. Let's get to video. Oh, okay. Here we go. This is back when Squidward was there. Here we go.
Kevin Childress had another question, which was on my mind as well.
Oh, asked, Kevin's a great guy.
Yeah. He asked, why do you think paranormal events seem to afflict experiencers?
You know, I paranormal events. Let me, if I may, I'm not an expert in paranormal events, but what I can say is that scientifically, by definition, everything is technically paranormal until it's no longer until it is normal. Okay, paranormal simply means outside or beyond what we consider to be the standard of if there is a standard of normalcy, right? Mm-hmm. And so para means outside of that. But this cell phone right here, 100 years ago, would certainly be considered paranormal. The fact that we're having a conversation like this over airwaves separated by thousands of miles in between each other would certainly be considered paranormal back then. And so my point is, everything by definition in the scientific community is paranormal until it becomes normal. So as far as the UAP phenomenon, if we want to use that and say that the UAP phenomenon is paranormal, then sure, because we don't understand it yet. I'll subscribe to that. But if we start going down the road of spiritual, paranormal, and you know, poltergeists and ghosts and all the other Bigfoots and things like that, again, I'm not saying no. What I'm simply saying is we don't have enough data yet to substantiate any of that. So rather than spend what little time I have bandwidth left, you know, I tend to try to focus on that data that I can quantify and qualify. Not that other information isn't interesting. It is, but I simply don't have enough hours in the day to go down that because it's too subjective. There's the evidence is purely from a person's point of view. And I don't have radar data on ghosts. I don't have anything, you know, telemetry that I can put my finger on and say, yes, you know, that is real. So I remain focused on the more nuts and bolts side of the house.
So one thing I want to add into this here, Mike, is in other interviews that went beyond this, we had Lou Elizondo saying that it's been noted that people who have interactions with the non-human intelligence have a greater likelihood to go ahead and have other paranormal experiences. It's almost like once they get, if you want to call it, have that interaction with the non-human intelligence, their consciousness expands and they can now observe a lot more things than they had before. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do. You're right.
Yeah. It's just one
of
the
things. I
things.
do remember that, yeah.
Yeah. So I've been searching, trying to find the clip of, do I have that interview of Kevin Childress before he was taken out? Unfortunately, I don't. This is the only thing I could find on the arrays, but I figured, you know what? Let's bring it up, share it with the audience, so they can understand. Hear a question from the guy before, unfortunately, he passed. Daryl, your thoughts on this one?
I think you stumbled onto something like we're all good at stumbling onto things in this group. And
UAP file.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, sorry, I'm just getting the next video queued up.
Okay. But yeah, I know I appreciate the effort you put in to try and find that video. I know that wasn't easy.
Well, no, it was easy. I just had to flip the switch on the 2 hard drive bays. I think that fits 4 hard drives each, and I just had to spin them up and just do the search, and they're already fully indexed.
It's kind of shocking to see Lou Buffet and Squidward after all these years.
I know. Rather be Squidding, and Squidward was a nickname. Yeah, exactly. So in our next clip, we played this one last night. If you saw it, it may be a replay, but we've got Ross Coulthart in here, belly aching about some areas of disclosure. Let's go ahead and listen to it. We're not going to do the 2 takes. We'll just pause as we're getting through it, because I think Ross is demanding a bit too much, and he's setting the benchmark too high that we'll never hit the disclosure for what Ross is looking for. We have to be, a little bit more, not forgiving, but a little more understanding about what can be brought out and what can't be. And some of the things he's saying, we must have this. If you set the bar so high, we will never achieve disclosure. I just wish he would go ahead and tell us, though, where is that giant UFO that's so big that we couldn't move it, and we had to build a huge building on top of it to hide it from everybody.
The place that he's been to.
He's been there.
I don't get why you can't tell.
Oh, no, Ross gets it. He's been around. He talks to more than enough people. And then some.
Burleson was on that for a minute. I wonder what kind of conclusion he came to.
Burleson? Where?
Burleson was talking about the big UFO that supposedly was somewhere that couldn't be moved.
Well, maybe he can go on a field trip and find it, and hopefully he brings with his metal detectors and other stuff to see what's underground.
Yeah, take Andy.
Yeah.
Resident expert.
Satellite footage or anything.
I feel like when Burleson comes up to like Anna Paulina, Matt Gates situation down in Florida type situation, Burleson crumbles under that type of pressure. I don't think he's got the, I'm not talking shit about the guy, but I don't think he's the Anna Paulina, Matt Gates. We're going to get the answers. We're demanding the answers. I think he probably went somewhere and they gave him an excuse, and that's how he went home.
Even down to Mexico to see Jaime.
Yeah.
And the mummy.
You see what I'm saying?
They can go hang out with Jaime or Jon Stewart for that matter.
He's not the investigative congressman that's going down there with an iron fist, like, give me these fucking answers or I'm going to use the weight of American power to fucking figure it out. No, he's just like, whatever you say, I'm going to go with.
Yeah. Oh, we did get another super chat coming in. Thank you, Brian, for reminding me the name Jon Stewart in my mind. What if there are more than one big UFOs? There could be 4. Well, let's start with 1. Supposedly, they could be under the pyramids or somewhere in Egypt. Kind of what Lou said in the past.
Well, how was it the Men in Black? Wasn't the Men in Black office like at the New York City, the New York Exposition, World's Fair Exposition? Yeah. It could be something like that.
Yeah. What if there are more than one big UFOs? There's that one giant disc that they have at the bottom of the ocean that's slowly moving over time and stuff. What if that's a UFO? We don't know what the heck that object. There's a lot of stuff that could be out there, but you know what? If we can go ahead and at least get one, I'll take it. Just like people were saying, oh, there's only one alien race here. Okay. But usually if there's one form of life, Daryl, isn't there usually more than one of anything?
It's kind of silly to limit it to just one when you just told everybody that because of all the possibilities of possible in the world universe, that there's one species out there. No, that's silly.
Only one species visiting us. Yeah, all right. So let's get to Ross Coulthart. Let's have some fun with it to wrap up the show. Let's get to where is he? There he is, and here we go.
The Trump administration releasing a second batch of UAP files on the Pentagon's website. In this video from October 2020, you could see a black dot flying across the screen. This video initially sent to
a black dot, disclosure dots,
the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. This newest release comes after the administration has already released more than 100 files earlier this month. News Nation's been following the push for UAP disclosure for years now. Especially this man, News Nation special correspondent and host of Reality Check, Ross Coulthart. Ross,
Before we get to this, yes, they have been covering this daily up until today, and News Nation is strangely silent talking about UFOs. Gotta wonder why.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining me tonight.
Good to be here, Alex.
All right, so last time we actually spoke 2 weeks ago from the first drop, I was sad to hear that you weren't overly impressed. So what do you make of this new batch? Anything new, anything coming as a shock to you?
There are certainly videos in the release this last few days which do suggest anomalous phenomena. They do show what we call the 5 observables, instantaneous acceleration, going from naught to extreme speeds in the blink of an eye. They're turning corners without stopping. So these are things that normal human technology, prosaic human technology cannot do. People are starting to use the alien word, is this non-human? But the Trump administration, what they're doing is they're saying to the public, we're going to let you be the judge. We're going to let you make the judgment yourself. And what I fear, Alex, is that they're kind of playing with the public a bit, because I know from my own sources they have absolutely categorical, wipe-the-floor evidence that shows beyond any doubt whatsoever that we are indeed being visited by non-human intelligences. And
okay, Ross, let's go back to the quote from Lou Elizondo that says we have an 8K video being recorded out from a B-52, I believe it's at this point, where you can go ahead and see the craft and clearly see the occupancy of the craft. Let's give the guy credit who's been saying, yes, they've got that high-res video out there, but I guess we're not far enough in the advancement and the release of disclosure dots to go from dots to actual craft we can start recognizing. That's a next step we need to get to, and I think we're going to get there. We just can't, expect to get it now, immediately.
That the United States government has known this for many decades. Why it's kept that secret, I don't know. But it's breaching trust with the American taxpayer, the public, unless they tell the full story. Right. And the full story is one that's still to come out.
So the president and the White House often calls themselves the most transparent in history, but you're essentially saying they could go a step further. Do you want them to go a step further? The public seems...
Well, they are moving along. First release, second release. If the third release is a dud, we're going to know what's going down. If it continues up, then we're going to know what's good. Have an open mind on this one.
To think that they should, right?
Yes, sir, I do. And I think they may well be considering doing that. There's a lot of speculation. I'm hearing it from people inside the administration that the Trump administration is indeed soliciting advice about how to tell the public that we're not alone. There are consultations taking place with spiritual leaders. I'm now able to confirm that. There was some speculation a couple of weeks ago about a group of pastors, but it turned out that wasn't directly related to the White House. But there are religious leaders that have been consulted by the White House. I'm aware of people in the administration who've reached out. I've actually spoken to people myself who've asked what I think would be the, quote, ontological shock for the public. And I've told them that, frankly, I think the biggest shock for the public would be the sense of a betrayal of trust if the government doesn't follow through and tell the whole story. We've had some astonishing allegations in the last few weeks. We've got an allegation, of course, long-standing from people like David Grush, the very reputable whistleblower who came forward to us on News Nation 3 years ago, where David referred to the existence of a covert retrieval and reverse engineering program involving alien technology. That bear in the room is still not answered.
It's an elephant. It's not a bears, and there are no bears in Australia, so correct yourself. It's an elephant in the room.
And why does he have to take a giant gasp of air after every sentence? That I almost want to pull. How many people are annoyed by the giant gasp?
Because he tries to talk as long as he possibly can without saying anything else. So if you're going to go ahead and talk and talk and talk and talk and keep on going and everything, you basically have to get to a point where you keep on talking and talking and talking. And if you want to go to and continue, you have to take your big breaths so you can...
It doesn't seem like that's much talking between gigantic Darth Vader breaths. But please,
I have to deal with that when I'm welcoming in the audience at the start of the show. But yeah, there are a lot of people who comment about that. Yeah. Okay. I hate to interrupt this broadcast with another broadcast, but I found this one today. And we need this is coming what UFO disclosure really means for Christians. We're back here again, folks, because people are going to be turning to their priests, to their rabbis and everything else. And Ross just brought this up. Let's just get to this little intro here and just see kind of what they're getting into. Audio, there we go.
Thing that can destabilize a person.
About the scientists and the whistleblowers wind up dead. That's all I'll say about that.
So this is something that can destabilize a person's faith. I mean, if a person, is a Bible-believing Christian and all of a sudden the government's saying, hey, we have UFOs and all that.
We have the retreat.
Wow. It's going to destabilize our faith, Daryl. There we go.
I'm sure you're aware of the fact that just a couple of weeks ago, President Trump declassified 8 decades of government files concerning UFOs and released those to the public. And according to the news reports, there's going to be more files declassified and disclosed in the near future. This is unprecedented and proves what we've been saying on this show for years, that UFOs are real. And the government has been aware of this for decades. And according to top government officials, they've been retrieving records since 2022, at least missing or died mysteriously. These are some of the issues I'm going to be discussing today with my guest, L.A. Marzulli. Before I introduce L.A., let me tell you a documentary that you need to watch.
So Christians are really vocal, Daryl, compared to other religions and what I'm seeing about X, that they see this as a potential disruption to Christianity. Is that a legitimate concern? Because there's a lot of people out there that seem very, concerned about this.
Well, what's legitimate is what you said, is that people will be going to will be looking to their religious whatever's
leaders,
in their lives.
Their religious, whatever whatever faith they follow, they're going to their pastor, to their rabbi, to whatever it might be, and to go ahead and help them understand what's going on, because a lot of people, as Danny Sheen has said in their past, will, turn to faith in this case. But in this case, it sounds like faith is concerned that it's going to destabilize religion, at least Christianity.
Yeah, I don't know how many people went to church yesterday, but I doubt, if you were to take a poll of the people who went to church yesterday, how many of their pastors, priests, reverends, vicars were talking about UFOs? Probably none.
Okay.
This is just...
Start a poll. I went to church, temple, etc., and UFOs were discussed. Yes, no.
No, this is a poll.
Don't partake.
And I'd say if you watch church on TV, that's good enough. Were they talking about on your church TV?
When I went to or watched on TV or watched church, temple, etc., and UFOs were discussed in the last week. Or no, this weekend.
Yesterday.
Yeah, this weekend.
Or this weekend if you're Jewish, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see where our audience takes this. This is a good question. We haven't asked this question so far. But so far, we have our audience, 80
churches.
We have a bunch of heathens here, Daryl, because apparently 80%, 60% of our audience does not partake, but 7% of the audience is saying yes. 29% is saying no. So there is a small percentage out there, no matter how small it is, and it's being discussed. But also shows 60% of the audience out there does not partake.
You know what? I should have given you a caveat on that. That were discussed by the pastor or by the reverend or the vicar or whatever, not just like discussed while you're in church.
That's okay if it's discussed and afterwards or during it or anything as part of your churchly duties that you did. Were any people talking about it?
Yeah, we'll have to break this down. I don't do math after a few drinks, but we'll have to break that down into 100% of the people that did go to church.
Right. So we're at 60% don't. Of the 60% that don't, 29% no, which is 30% versus 12% who are saying yes. So it's still small, but it's a significant number enough where it's being shown, where it is being discussed.
How many people have, I can't see the top of the screen.
86 votes in. Hey, Google, set a timer for 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Now. We got 30 seconds left, 25 seconds in this survey, folks. But, you know, it's a...
Oh, my God. You said 2 alarms.
We got 12% in versus 29% versus 59%. But either way, a lot of people don't anymore, which is kind of where religion's been going in the United States. Although we say there's a lot more young people going, we just haven't seen the actual numbers on that one. So 1 second left. There we go. Survey says...
So the way that bears out, though, of the people that did go to church, that was at 30-30. So 3 times. So 31% of the people or thereabouts that went to church, they talked about UFOs. Now that blows me away.
Yeah, it does. So it is being discussed. This is what we've been talking about. Let's get rid of this. And I know I've got the video here, and he's just about to say more things. Let's see where he goes.
There was reported a private meeting that some government officials had with a group of pastors, and they were telling them about the disclosure, the report that was going to come out declassifying this information. And what they said was, we're telling you this because we want people to be able to understand it. And we want you to help them to understand it in the context of their faith. In other words, when people hear that there really are UFOs and there really are aliens, I mentioned in the introduction, L.A., the documentary, The Age of Disclosure.
Okay, let's jump on.
In the land of Israel. And so these signs have been happening for a long time. When you look at AI, when I see anti-Semitism, AI, and aliens, those are the 3 things I look at right now that are showing these are not normal times. This is not just business as usual. So let's talk about reverse engineering. So on the day of disclosure, the documentary that I recommend people watch on Prime, Amazon Prime, they're talking about reverse engineering all the way back to Roswell. This has been going on since 1947. The government's been collecting the spacecraft, the alien bodies, all those kinds of things. And so there's not a lot about the alien bodies in what has been disclosed by President Trump, but there is about the spacecraft itself. I believe she was being targeted for her work, actually more than 12 now.
So Daryl and Mike, there's a lot of questions out there coming from it, but it sounds like we're getting we're coming up with a consensus of multiple people from Christianity talking about this to a point where they're afraid it's going to affect their religion, their religious beliefs.
I think that's good. I think it's good that you have spiritual leaders that are talking about it where they weren't talking about it before. So if you look up to your spiritual leader and they're talking about it, you might start forming your own opinion, and they're along with his opinion and your own family's opinion. But the fact that people are talking about it is a good thing. I could care less literally what they're saying about it, but care less. But that they're talking about it, yes, perfect, great.
That's important. Absolutely. Let's get back to now Ross Colhart talking about this. We interrupted our interruption to go ahead and get what we had to hear what the actual pastors were saying. Here we go.
Technology, that bear in the room is still not answered. And the other allegations, including one from Lou Elizondo, the former head of the Pentagon's UFO program, he's talked about hybridization programs that he's being told about.
Oh my God, no, he hasn't. We're talking about stuff that came from Matt Gaetz. And only Matt Gaetz.
Within the intelligence community.
Ross,
he really likes to take these salacious things and throw them out there as facts, Daryl.
I think but didn't Burchett say on this one point about the hybrids that he heard the same story?
Yeah, he heard it from Matt Gaetz. Everybody's heard it from Matt Gaetz. From
another person also. Who was dressed. I thought he said he was dressed. He had the full medals. He's talking about the medals, and he told me about the hybrids too.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah. We'll see where it goes. Here we go.
Is there any concern that this over dumping of files and videos and documents is sort of diluting the water in terms of what's important for the public to take away? Meaning that there's just so much happening and oversaturation that it's hard for us to even tell what's new, what's important, and for us to actually really grasp how important it all is.
Just about everybody I speak to, Alex, tells me that they think the Pentagon and the intelligence community are trying to bore us into submission, that they're hoping...
Well, the boring to us from submission literally comes from Mick West working within different intelligence agencies, and we know where that's coming from. So if they're trying to bore us to death, that is what Mick West has been training our intelligence agencies on how to handle this. I wish he would call out Mick West for this rather than just beating around the bush, literally.
The public will just shrug their shoulders and
because he's from Australia and they have a lot of bush there.
Go, oh yeah, ho hum, and go away. I don't think there's a genuine intelligence, a genuine intention from within the Pentagon and the intelligence community to release this information, which would go further. But I'm told President Trump and his team are genuinely thinking about making a full candid disclosure. So we can only hold our breath and hope that the president follows through with his genuine promises of transparency.
He's going to give us transparency, but stop leading the people on, Ross. We're only going to get what they're able to say to us under national disclosure. Lua talked about this before. You could have 20 UAP records that they want to bring out, but 5 or 7 of those UAP records could be classified under national security. Put those to the side. We're not going to see it, but the other 12 records that are there, we're going to see those. So that's what it comes down to. Not everything is going to get canned with national security, but there will be a sizable, measurable portion that will prevent, that national security will prevent us from getting the truth. Right, Daryl? I've said national security like 5 times, so I've already gone through my refill, which means
yeah.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah. We got to the end of Ross. Once you look at that, we got to the end of the show. What a great time. What a great opportunity to hang out with friends. Yes, we're here for Disclosure tonight, and Disclosure tonight will keep on going on a daily basis. We'll be back here tomorrow, and we will find things, trust us, to go ahead and talk about. On that note, I want to go ahead and thank some people that threw out some super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? Here we go. Let's go ahead. And let's thank who gave us some super chats tonight. Let me bring it up and thank everybody. Turn off the super chat. Moses Kelly was the first person to throw out a super chat tonight. Thank you very much. Moon at Noon. Thank you. We appreciate it. Steve Mateo. Great show, guys. You know, that's what we aim to do here. And then Brian Pemble. What if there's more than one big UFOs? There could be 4. I say bring it all out. Right, Daryl?
Yeah. I mean... I think we figured out that the people can handle it.
Yeah. Mike, we wish you the best on unclogging the shit. Can't wait to hear your next installment tomorrow to hear how that went.
Mike, just remember Lowe's, your shit is their bread and butter.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
All right. What a great opportunity to hang out with friends.
Everybody. Yeah, happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. And as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everybody, but...
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. See you tomorrow, everybody. Take care now. Here.